Hi Division 6. I'm filming this video on Easter weekend, so I actually have a friend with me today. Believe it or not, it is the Easter Bunny. So the Easter Bunny is going to be joining us for our math lesson today. And today we are learning a strategy that you might have heard called before long division. And it's a bit different from the strategy we did last week. And the thing that's probably better about this strategy is that if there's a remainder in your question, dividing in parts can get a little bit confusing. So this strategy is better for getting a really precise answer and being able to find that remainder. So to demonstrate this method, first I'm going to show you how to divide this way using base 10 blocks. Now, if you've forgotten, when we use base 10 blocks, we have these blocks to represent the tens column, and we have these smaller blocks to represent the ones. So in this case, the question we're going to be doing is 94 divided by 4, and I've modeled 94, which is my dividend, using base 10 blocks. So I have 9 tens blocks to represent 90, and I have 4 ones blocks to represent 4. In total, 90 plus 4 is 94. So because we're dividing 94 by 4, I've drawn 4 empty boxes on my whiteboard. And first, I'm going to divide the tens into these 4 boxes. So I have 9 tens here, and I'll just distribute them evenly into each box until I don't have any more left. And I have one more. I can't put this one in a box because there isn't enough for me to put 3 in every box. So I have 4 boxes, 2 tens in each box, and this is what I have left over, is this 1 10, and then I still have these 4 ones to deal with. What I'll do so that I can divide up this extra 10 is I'm just going to break the 10 into ones. So right now you can see I have 14 left over, 10 plus 4. I'm going to take the 10, and I'm actually just going to use scissors to chop this guy up. Now I've divided my 10 into ones, and I also still have these 4 ones that I had originally. And I'm going to divide these so that there's an equal amount in each of the 4 boxes. So there we go. I've divided up my ones. I've got 3 ones in each of the 4 boxes, but I still have 2 ones left over. And that is what my remainder is going to be. They're already ones, so I can't really divide them up any further. And I already have an equal amount in each box, so I can't put them in any of the other boxes. So this is my remainder right here. I know that I have a remainder of 2. And then to find my answer, I just need to see how much is in each box. So each box has 2 tens and 3 ones, which we can also write as 20 plus 3, or 23. So this time I'm going to do the same equation, but I'm not going to use my base 10 blocks this time. But I'm still going to use the same process. So just like with my base 10 blocks, I'm going to ignore the ones column for now. So this 4 is what is in the ones column, and I'm just going to actually take my hand and cover it up. So really all I'm thinking about right now is this 9, which we know represents 90. But in this case, I can just think of it as a 9. So the question I'm asking myself is, what is 9 divided by 4? And again, I can solve this by going through my multiplication tables. So I can think 4 times 1 equals 4, okay? 4 times 2 equals 8, that's pretty close to 9. 4 times 3 equals 12. Oh, 12 is bigger than 9, so I can't use that. So the closest I can get is 4 times 2 equals 8. So I'm going to write my 2 up here, and I'm going to write the 8 underneath. It's important that I remember when I'm doing division and multiplication that this 9 is not actually a 9. This 9 is a 90. So I am not just going to write 8 here. I'm actually going to write 80. And I'm not just going to write 2 here. I'm actually going to write 20. So now I have 4 times 20 equals 80. And I want to know how much I have left over to divide. So 94 minus 80 is 14. And you might remember that when we did this question with our base 10 blocks, that we also had 14 left over. We had 1 10 and we had 4 ones. So now I'm thinking about this question. 14 divided by 4 equals what? Again, I can check out my times tables for this. So 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. That's pretty close to 14. 4 times 4 is 16. That is bigger than 14, so it's too big. So the question I want to go with is 4 times 3 equals 12. I'm going to put my 3 up here, and 4 times 3 equals 12. I will put down here. Now it's important to remember to put your 3 in the correct spot. My 3 wouldn't go above my 2 because my 3 doesn't mean 30. My 3 is in the ones column. So that's why I'm putting it here, above this 0 from earlier. And now I want to see how much I have left over. So 14 minus 12 equals 2. 2 divided by 4 doesn't work because 4 is bigger than 2. So just like when we used our base 10 blocks, we know that 2 is where we stop, and that is our remainder. Now all I have to do is take this 20 and this 3. I know that 20 plus 3 equals 23. So 94 divided by 4 equals 23, remainder 2. I'll show you one more example, and for this example I'm going to do 73 divided by 6. So again, my first step is just to ignore the ones column altogether. So I'm covering up that 3, and I'm just thinking about 7 tens divided by 6. So if I have 7 tens and I want to put them in 6 boxes, I'm going to end up with 1 10 in each box. And I'm going to write that 0 to remind myself I'm talking about 1 10, not 1 1. So 6 times 10 equals 60. So in total, I've divided up 6 tens so far. But we still have some left over to divide. So I'm going to subtract 73 minus 60, and I get 13. Now I have to solve the rest of the question. So 13 divided by 6. I'm going to think about my multiplication tables. 6 times 2 equals 12. 6 times 3 equals 18, which is too big. So I know 6 times 2 equals 12 is what I'm looking for. This time the 2 goes in my ones column. And I'm subtracting 12 from 13 to figure out how much I have left. I have only 1. 1 divided by 6 doesn't really work because 6 is bigger than 1. So it turns out that that is my remainder. And now all I have to do is add up these numbers at the top to find my answer. So 73 divided by 6 equals 12, remainder 1. Long division is probably one of the more challenging math concepts that we'll learn this year because you're using a lot of different skills at the same time. You're thinking about place value, you're thinking about multiplication, and you're thinking about division. So it's okay if it takes you a little bit longer to figure it out because there's a lot of things that you're thinking about at once. I would encourage you, if you're doing the question and it just doesn't really make sense to you, I'd encourage you to use some base 10 blocks like I used. You might have noticed in this video that my base 10 blocks aren't actually base 10 blocks because I'm at home and I don't have my base 10 blocks with me. So I'm just using pieces of paper, and I've made my 10s by doing a block that has 10 different squares, and I've made my 1s just out of these tiny little pieces of paper. So you can always make these for yourself and try dividing them up into different boxes if you're doing your division and it just doesn't seem to make sense. Another thing you can do is watch this video as many times as you need to kind of practice. And you can always shoot me a message if you have more questions about it or you think you need a little bit more help trying to figure it out. From myself and the Easter Bunny, I hope you had a good Easter weekend and you have a nice week ahead, and I'll talk to you soon.